Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a small new episode of the Yoku Masaki Show. I am your host, the Cat Ear Extraordinaire. Today is November 4th, 2021, and I wasn't expected to do this, but because I was in the process of certain things, but I figured I would talk to you guys a little bit about something in case of it. Some of you may know I am a huge wrestling fan. And some of you have been probably on, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably have seen me on Twitter and on my TikTok, same name, Yoku Masaki, that have been very expressive about my love of wrestling. And of course, if you saw my last video, if you listened to my last episode of my podcast, you saw that I had done an episode all about the return of CM Punk. I'm no wrestle talk. I'm no cultaholic or what culture wrestling, but I figured I would talk about the recent situation. As of this year, for the last several months, WWE has made a lot of budget cuts. And some of the superstars they have cut, various ones that, let's just say, have been very much on the sense of unfortunate circumstances. Recently, in October, Ring of Honor had announced that due to the precautions of COVID, they were unable to keep things maintained, and they are not wanting to take a risk on the situation that's happened. So they have decided to close up shop. Now, a lot of people are, of course, upset about the fact that this is happening. For those who don't know, Ring of Honor has been around for years. It was one of the money companies that started the careers for many wrestlers who have gone on from WWE to AEW, Impact Wrestling, many others, MLW, and many other Major League Wrestling and many other companies. The wrestler that introduced me to Ring of Honor was CM Punk. So that was the company that introduced me to Ring of Honor. I believe in 2002, of the year was the year that I was reintroduced to Ring of Honor. Many people I have known about Ring of Honor with, many of the wrestlers I'm familiar with, Mandy Leon and many Cheeseburger. Dalhousen, who's become a new one, I was starting to love. Quinn McKay, who is also a broadcaster on Ring of Honor. Also, Wrestling with Regret, who the YouTuber Wrestling with Regret. I don't remember his real name. I apologize for that. He also recently had a job there in Ring of Honor as well. Unfortunately, like I said, they had to shut down in the sense of what's going on with Ring of Honor. So that was the case of it. Recently, there has just been news from Brian Alvarez, who I believe works for Wrestling News Now, I believe, or Wrestling Observer. He has made it has been officially announced of a statement for wrestling. The list of wrestlers that have left. This. I'm sorry if I seem like I'm out of words because it's really shocking that this has happened. So, let's talk about some of these. It's been announced by a publicist, a statement by WWE that due to budget cuts, which is in quotation, several superstars in the WWE have officially been released due to budget cuts. Some of these wrestlers, I was hoping that would have the situation happen. Unfortunately, some of them have not. They've worked with the company for years, and some of them are not surprising. These wrestlers include Ember Moon, Jessie Kamea, Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rama, Oni Lorcan, Trey Baxter, Zaida Ramir, Scarlett Barbado, aka Scarlett, B-Fab from Hit Row, Grand Metallic, and Lince Dorado, the last two members of Lucha House Party, Karrion Kross, Harry Smith, Nia Jax, Eva Marie, and these two are the ones that break my heart the most. Keith Bearcat Lee and Mia Yim. Those two were the ones that as much as you all probably know, I'm a fan of Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I'm heartbroken about Keith Lee and Mia Yim because those two had dealt with so much sacrifice to be a part of the WWE. First of all, they were dating because of their connection in the WWE. Mia Yim had recently gone through a situation where she was retooled in a promo with Retribution earlier last year, and after her push with that situation, they decided to disband Retribution, whereas T-Bar and I can't even remember the other one's name. That's how much Retribution was not a good faction. It was a faction that was supposed to be formulated through Ali, and it was not a good idea. Mia was retooled as a character in that group known as Reckoning. She even had a promotional Twitter account to use to have it as if she was the twin sister of Mia. Unfortunately, it didn't work so well for her character in the sense of it, so they decided to scrap the whole thing. She was getting a lot of momentum in NXT and was in the process of getting a retooling in her promo to make her major debut in Raw and SmackDown. And now she's released. Then, Keith Lee. Here's the thing. Keith just recently had a promotion of a retooling as a heel, as Keith Bearcat Lee. This was his promo for his heel run. He was just getting a debut between this month and last month on Raw, and he gets released. You mean to tell me this man went through all this, along with an injury and such, that he was out for months, comes back with a heel promo that many people didn't like, and I can understand the reason why he did the promo, because Bearcat is in honor of a wrestler from the early 60s and 70s, I believe, named Bearcat. That was his homage to Bearcat. And you mean to tell me he sacrificed his Limitless promo to become Bearcat, which a lot of people, including myself, unfortunately, did not really partake in, to release him? And then Frankie Monette, John Morrison's wife, a.k.a. Taya Valkyrie, who is considered very legendary in the luchador wrestling circuit, gets kicked out of WWE on the NXT roster. And then Karrion Kross and Scarlett both get kicked out. This is the second time that Scarlett has been released from WWE. She had a deal with WWE briefly, was a jobber to push Nia Jax. And I believe she had a match with Nia Jax where she was a jobber, where she was supposed to be a fan of Sasha Banks during Nia Jax's promo against Sasha Banks with their rivalry. And she was a squash match. And then when she finally got another deal with NXT, with WWE through NXT, with her husband, Karrion Kross, who is her husband, by the way. They've officially announced their engagement last month. You mean to tell me after he gets a push to the main roster, that's it for him? And it's bad enough. His whole repackaging of his look was terrible. The gladiator mask and the outfit, just not a good idea. I mean, he's a ruthless killer. That's what his whole purpose is. They packaged him to be like this Roman warrior of a gladiator, and that was not a good idea. We've seen the gladiator shtick happen before. It just wasn't a good idea. I'm heartbroken a little bit. But you know what two wrestlers a lot of people are actually happy are leaving? One is a wrestler I actually didn't want to leave and has a history with the company. One has a history with the companies, with the wrestlers in the company, but I'm actually glad of leaving. Nia Jax and Eva Marie. So let me explain about that. Eva Marie, I don't care how many people want to hate on Eva Marie. That woman is a talent. She was the reason why many people from the Divas division at the time, especially when the Bella twins were getting a lot of push over Natalia and such. The woman has made a hustle on her own, had wanted to strike out successful in acting. Hell, I love the team up she did with Mandy Rose at one point before they've had a falling out. So Eva's whole situation was a great thing for me. And the fact that she used the fact that people didn't like her as a momentum for her was also a good idea. I just didn't like the fact that she never really got a chance to shine as a wrestler except her rivalry with Doudrop, who was also considered her underling in a sense of it. That's the one thing I didn't like. So we really didn't get to see the potential that Eva could have in her comeback. Only now to get her dropped. But I think she'll do fine. She has a fashion lines company. She has a fitness company. She has a fitness endorsement. Her husband is a fitness trained expert, so she'll be fine. It's just a disappointment we didn't get to see the push that she really deserved. I've seen slower situations happen like that. In this case, with wrestlers like what's her name, Chelsea Green. Same thing with her. I mean, that's even worse. Chelsea Green was way worse than Eva. I mean, how can you get an injury on your debut, end up being out of commission for months, and then you get released, never to become back on the main roster again? But in the indie circuit, you made a name for yourself and your legacy. So some people are not meant to be in wrestling. So Eva, I was hoping to get a resurgence because I never really got into Eva until right around the time she was just working with the Bellas. And last minute situations started happening. You know, the whole wardrobe malfunction, injury in her ring attachment and such. The constant situations that she had in the ring. That's why people don't like her, because they feel she's not legit of a wrestler. So a lot of people I know are going to be happy about her being released, whereas me, I don't. Now on the flip side of the coin, Nia Jax. I'm going to tell you this right now. It's the first time a Samoan of the Anoa'i family who's released that I'm actually happy about. The woman has made very similar situations in her wrestling that have made a bad reputation with every female wrestler in that division. I'm all for body positivity and women bigger needs to have more acceptance, but Nia Jax wasn't necessary. And when it came to something as simple as an injury to many of the female wrestlers with not showing one shred of regret, you have to cross the line. And for them to say, "Hey, we're not going to fire her for all that. We're not going to discipline her for that." It's kind of effed up. But you know what? If that means now that she's released because she hasn't been having any big matches in the sense of it, I'm sorry. I'm actually glad that happened. A lot of other people will disagree with me on that, but I'm sorry. That's my 2 cents about that situation. But there is one wrestler that I am very disappointed that WWE has not asked released, despite the situation with their reputation. And that is Jackson Ryder. Jackson Ryder was on NXT as a part of a faction group called the Forgotten Sons. And at one point, he was brought up to the main roster as a subordinate for Elias. At one point, he was almost suspended because he had made a post supporting Donald Trump and many posts in supporting against anti-vaccinations. And yet, he still is unsigned by WWE. That man is the only one that's not been released, and yet he's still there. How in the hell did that happen? I'm still mad on the sense of the fact of Karrion Kross and Keith Lee. How do you make those two and change who they are from what they were in NXT to the main roster, and then all of a sudden you decide to drop them? 8 days ago, Keith Lee, hands-on was his heel persona as Bearcat with Vince McMahon 8 days ago. And then you decide to drop him. And then for a year, Triple H built it up, Karrion Kross. Separated him with his wife Scarlett, and then the fucked up look that they gave him in the main roster. Are you fucking serious? And yet, people like Jackson Ryder, who's been racist, is still on the roster. People like Gunner, who wore blackface once, is still on the roster. I'm like, fucking Karrion, seriously. And then you do that. I'm like, Scarlett fired. Karrion Kross fired. Taya Valkyrie fired. Mia Yim fired. Ember Moon fired. Keith Lee fired. The stupidest thing that WWE has done. This is why WWE's deal with Saudi Arabia wasn't a good idea. I really feel that's the reason why. The fact they didn't get enough profit, it shows like Super Showdown and Crown Jewel is the reason why this happened. Because honestly, if they had done stuff like this with AEW or any other company, they would have had the same problem. WWE is the only company that has a cross-promotional venue deal with Saudi Arabia. And then this happens. You want to say it's... And again, as much as I'm not a fan of Nia Jax, as much as a lot of people I know are not fans of Eva Marie, it's still disappointing to know that some of these wrestlers, with the exception of people like Nia, with Mia, Eva Marie, the rest of the wrestlers, this is their bread and butter. Them losing out this job, it's going to be hard for them to hustle. But we can only hope that in the coming months, they'll be able to get new positions. Now, the question is which of these wrestlers could have the potential to make it in the Indies or make it to Impact Wrestling or AEW? Now, here's my thing. Karrion, Scarlett, Keith, Mia, and Ember, I hope AEW keeps an eye on them. I feel those are the ones that have potential. They really do. Because if anything, I would love to see Karrion team up with Malachi Black. I would love to see Mia and Keith do promos together. Scarlett, in the sense of it too. I feel that most of these wrestlers have an opportunity in themselves of it. Frankie Monet, now that she's released from WWE, let's hope that Taya Valkyrie will make a return back on Impact Wrestling, because I already know that's going to happen. Taya will be back on Impact Wrestling before you know it. Her character was written out of Impact Wrestling since she got the deal with WWE. So there's always that. Karrion has done New Japan. He's done Impact. He's done Major League Wrestling, I believe, along with his wife, Scarlett. So there's always an opportunity for them. But if anything, I would love to see Cross work with AEW. I think he's a perfect person to go in there with his wife. I can't say for every B-Fab. I'm disappointed B-Fab didn't even get a chance to shine in NXT or main roster. I really don't. She was the only female in Hit Row. Now Hit Row is nothing more than no more than the D Club. And again, nothing against Isaiah Scott, nothing against Top Dollar, nothing against Adonis, nothing against those three. Really nothing against them. But let's be real. That B-Fab made that team a little bit more eccentric by being the only female in the group. And to not have a female in the group just makes it so awkward. It really does. So now that these wrestlers are gone, it's insane. Like, seriously. A lot of people, like, I'm looking on Twitter as of now, everybody's like, are you serious? Vince, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And like, it's just, now, There is one wrestler whose contract is almost ending, but it has been speculated he may not resign, and that is Kyle O'Reilly. Now, Kyle O'Reilly is the last member of the Undisputed Era. Technically, he's he's the third member of Undisputed Era who is still with WWE, along with Roderick Strong. Roderick is now in the faction of the Diamond Mine. And if I'm correct, he's still currently the Cruiserweight Champion. However, Kyle O'Reilly, who was also a member of Undisputed Era, is almost ending his contract with NXT as well. Now, question is if he does leave NXT, there is a possibility he might get snatched up for AEW. Because you know what? Because two other members of Undisputed Era is also on AEW. Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. Both of them have had potential as solo acts to be a part of AEW now. Adam Cole as a solo act, along with teaming up with the Super Click and the Elite, which is who he was with since the beginning. Bobby Fish as a solo wrestler. Kyle O'Reilly, who's now a solo wrestler, is that sense of it, along with Roderick Strong being a solo wrestler. So now there's always a potential that they all could get back together, with the exception of Roderick Strong. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. But yeah, this is it's making Vince look even worse and worse and worse. And the fact, like, with Mia Yim, for example, Mia had dreams, like many of the wrestlers, to have a chance to go to WWE. She was in the Mae Young Classic 3 years ago, I believe. And while she didn't win, she put so much heart in. Everyone was cheering, sign Mia Yim. Sign Mia Yim. She went outside from the stage. Triple H came to her personally and said, look, I'm hearing people ask me to sign her, so I'm going to sign you. Because you put a heart out there and I see the potential and everyone wants you. Mia hated some of her run in Impact Wrestling with her gimmick. She hated it. The HBIC gimmick that she has currently when she was in WWE was the gimmick that she's always wanted. This was the gimmick she wanted to do for years. Now, I'm hoping that she gets picked up by AEW, because that gives potential for someone else to work with her. And the one person I would love her to work with, which many of you probably didn't know, is Leva Bates. She and Leva are really good friends. It's not just the blue hair that makes them cool. They've even done tag teams together. One time they actually dressed as Black Panther and Killmonger, which is kind of funny. Mia dressed as Killmonger, Leva dressed as Black Panther. And I know, cultural appropriation, you're probably thinking of that, but you have to understand, it's cosplay, okay? It's not right. It's kind of unsync of it, but if Mia is okay with it, I'm not going to say anything. But it was kind of cool, subjectively, that they dressed as Black Panther and Killmonger in their wrestling gear. However, when Mia was part of, the Dollhouse, which I believe the faction she was when she was signed with TNA and Impact Wrestling, Mia said she hated that look. She hated the whole gimmick. The whole Harajuku Barbie, cute schoolgirl, Japanese fetish typecasting. She hated it. Which is understandable, because her being a half black, half Asian wrestler, you don't want to fall on the typecast that you're known for of your culture in the shtick of it. It's no different than a black wrestler doing blackface and doing it subjectively, subliminally. I mean, that's what it is. If there was a wrestler who was half black, half Mexican, I guarantee you people like creative sources like WWE will have them follow more their Mexican heritage. Hell, if The Rock wasn't so comfortable with it, I'm pretty sure he would have been more with his Samoan heritage to some stupid accessory. So when he came out, he went under his Samoan heritage, less than his black heritage. It wasn't until his black heritage with his father, Rocky Johnson, he was able to be liked. And then, through his success, he started incorporating a little bit of his Samoan heritage. But when he first came out, he was Rocky Maivia. Let's not forget that. He was Rocky Maivia, the heritage of his Samoan heritage, and less of his black heritage. You have to remember that. So, on the sense of that, it's disappointing to see that this man has the fact that all these wrestlers have been, on the sense of all these wrestlers just been wrestling and lost. Like, it's effed up. It really is. My only hope now is hopefully this hopefully AEW will take notice, because you have to understand too, not every wrestler is going to go to AEW. Most of them will probably go Impact and Independent. It's harder even more for these wrestlers now because Ring of Honor being on hiatus indefinitely is going to make it harder for them to get jobs in their careers. It really is. Like, Ring of Honor was the last opportunity for them to get in a sense of it. So unless MLW offers some opportunity for them to make a name for themselves, it's going to be hard for them between Impact Wrestling and AEW. And I mean, yes, the Forbidden Door swing both ways for both of those companies, but it's going to be really hard to try to amass themselves within those two companies, other than most of the smaller indies. So I only hope that those wrestlers mentioned today will have an opportunity to make themselves well known to the sense of their situation. Who do you believe should go to what company? What wrestlers that I mentioned today do you believe they should go to these wrestlers? Let me know in Twitter. Make sure you follow my official Twitter for my podcast, Yoku Masaki Show, all one word. If you have not gone to my page for it on Anchor, like I said, make sure you follow there. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, don't forget JiraiMedia.com for all your photography needs. This has been another episode of the Yoku Masaki Show, and as always, until next time, this is your favorite cat ear extraordinaire saying good night and later days.